Welcome everybody, and this is Defeater of Souls, and today we're going to be drawing some sprites from memory. Now, when I say we, I don't mean myself. After all, I've tried drawing sprites from memory before, and the results have been disastrous in pretty much every way you could think of. So, rather than an amateur like me, I decided to bring in my good friend and a master artist, Conrad Elliott, in order to come and take a crack at drawing these sprites. So please give a welcome to my good friend Conrad Elliott. Thank you very much for having me, Defeater of Souls, and please, find a way to come up with a better nickname. I'm working on it. But that aside, yes, I'm going to be drawing the sprites for today's video. Everything will be done by me. All he's doing is recording it and spinning the little wheel thingy. Yes, the wheel thingy. Also, make sure you subscribe if you're... Okay, that's enough of that advertisement for my good friend. There's going to be 5 monsters. They're all going to be drawn completely from memory. I actually don't know what any of these look like. I just saw him the other day. He showed me all of them. Yes, he hasn't played the game, so this might still turn out interesting. Or we might get some really good art. I think there's only one way to find out. So do I. Say, Defeater, take me to the wheel. Alright, let's go to the first... Alright, Conrad, do you see the wheel in front of you? Yes, I see the wheel. So I just move my mouse over here and go ahead and click that. Yeah, you'll click it, it'll spin for a couple seconds. I'll tell you what you have to draw. I'm supposed to remember these by their Game Boy names? Yes. Although, I will be able to tell you pretty soon afterwards what you get, so everything should be ready. You can go ahead and shuffle that a little bit, and go ahead and give it a spin there, Conrad. Alrighty. Say, what are the odds I get something absolutely unbelievably hard? I'd say it's about 32%. Let's take a look. It looks like you're going to be doing the Gorago. So that's actually a fun one, because that is the super boss of the original Dragon Quest Monsters 2. It required you to have another version of the game, and yeah, I don't think they care about that. They probably do, but I'll save it for another video. Alrighty, so, your Gorago has been shown on the screen. You have 5 minutes. Are you ready for that? Yes, I am. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so if I remember correctly, Gorago had this weird, star-shaped head. Now, an important thing to remember when you're making sprites, especially with the time limit, is that you have to capture the essential details of their face. Now, it also helps if you know what you're drawing, but in situations similar to these, you don't really have much choice in the matter. Another important thing here is the ability to use multiple colors in order to add essential shading. Remember, you only have 5 minutes. It's not a lot of time for this fancy stuff. Yes, but if I can give him an art lesson, while also making art, I think it would turn out much better. Alright, I'll let you do you, Conrad. Okay, so after you go ahead and you set up everything you know, that's when you have to start dealing with the things you don't know. There's always going to be something you forget if you're trying to draw something from memory. And of course, with me having such little knowledge of these sprites, it's not going to turn out pretty for a lot of these. No, I think it's going to turn out great. Well, I certainly hope you think so, otherwise why would you have me on here? Good point. So after you get the head done, I personally think that when making a sprite, the head should be the first thing you complete. Then afterwards you can move on to the body. After all, the head is gives you a very good sense of scale for these sort of things, and they are really essential. Capturing the head helps you get a scale for the rest of the body. Alright. Conrad, you are a minute and a half out of time, so you have about 3.5 minutes left. Yes, I know, but don't rush me. I am rushing you, that's the entire point. Well, either way, it's important, like I said, that you don't make stupid mistakes like that. Mistakes will cost you time, and when you're in a situation like this, time is very valuable. So, it's important that you keep your calm even when you do make a big mistake. Like, for example, say I sucked at art, and I accidentally used the fill bar with the color I had, like so. Oh no, undo's not gonna work because it's such a big mistake. Now, my good friend would probably freak out if such a thing were to occur, but to me, I said don't worry about it, and that will ultimately be the better move in the long run. It might actually end up looking better if you do it right. You are down to half your time, Conrad. You really need to start arting and less explaining. Yes, I know. Now, it's important that everything you don't remember when you're drawing sprites from memory, that you're able to compensate for by having something very confidently added. By very confidently asserting something in it, you can make it seem like your sprite is the right one. Also, shadow is important. Using different colors is going to help you get a sense of shade. And you're going to want shadows to help make your thing feel more 3D and less like 2D art. Now, to be fair, this is 2D art, and since I am on a time limit, I'm not able to go into as much detail as I'd like. Usually, it takes me about an hour to create a really good sprite. But, we don't have an hour, we have... How much time do we have left? You have 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes, so we're gonna have to make the most out of those 2 minutes. Well, it's closer to about 1.5 minutes now. Oh, well, golly gee, of course it is. Anyway, after you're done with the basic model, it's about this time where you should probably start to improve anything you don't feel happy with. Now me, I'm not happy with any of this design, but I also know that I can't let the small things in life bother me. It's fixing the big things that require the most effort. For example, Garago is supposed to be this big, fierce beast, so he should have a fitting appearance. Now, remember, you only have like 1 minute left. Yes, you don't have to keep reminding me the time, Defeater. Yeah, that sounds stupid. I really do need to come up with a better nickname, don't I? Anyway, along with all this art, having a good outline is important. Taking advantage of outlines can be incredibly useful for creating good art. Now, of course, in the limited time I have, I won't be able to do such, but hopefully what I do will be a very good representation of what you should do. With the final minutes ticking away, if you're trying a challenge such as this, then it's important that you fix up any mistakes or inconsistencies in your artwork. For example, I need to fix up this back here to make it look a little more scary and a little more flowy, while also adding a slightly darker brown in order to create the illusion of a flowing mane rather than some kind of dinosaur spikes, which is not what we want. So, with these final seconds, we'll just make a few extra additions there. And how much time do I have left? 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds? Okay, so just add a little thing on the tail there. And I'd say this seems like the best I'm gonna do. And I'd be inclined to agree, considering you're out of time. So, are you ready, my... Alright, Conrad, so this was the Garago you were supposed to draw, and this is the one you did. Alright. It's not that bad. I mean, I could have done a little more detail on the legs, added some horns, but besides that, I think it looked pretty good for my limited amount of time. I guess I can't disagree with that. Shall we move on to the next monster? Oh, absolute. Alrighty, you ready, Connor, for your second monster? You mind if I shuffle it? Go ahead. Alright, I would like something I actually recognize rather than something I had to memorize. You know, like a slime. A slime would be nice. Alright, then go ahead and spin it and we'll see what you get. Okay, so here's hoping for a slime, like a liquid slime. A bubble slime would be wonderful. It's right there in the middle of the wheel. Yeah, it doesn't look like that. It looks like you're getting a whale mage. A whale mage? What do you mean a whale mage? Well, our viewers will know what a whale mage is because it's appearing on front of their thing. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure the whale mage appeared in Dragon Quest VII, but give me a moment and I can fact check that for you. Whale mage, it's a whale mage. Okay, one moment. I'm trying to remember. You don't get that long, my friend, so you probably should just make sure you're ready as we head over to the time to make 8-bit art. I'll be looking this up while you go, so you can go ahead and get started while I'm searching. Alrighty, so the whale mage, right? Yes, it's the whale mage. Alright, go ahead, start the timer. Alrighty, so the whale mage, he's known for his big stomach. He had this big stomach. It was like, you know, it was like a whale. I feel like that's very good artwork right there. You know, it looks like the thing it says it does. You'd be surprised how much art doesn't do that. Alright, so, the whale mage, my good friend Connor. Yes, it's also another Dragon Quest Monsters exclusive one. Oh, come on, you can't pull anything from the mainline games? Alright, here, listen, if the next one isn't mainline, then we can just keep spinning until it's something you might recognize. Oh, well, we still got 4 monsters? 4 monsters, that's right. Well, then the least you could do is, you know, create a better wheel. Hey, I didn't filter it, my bad. I'll do that next time. Well, you better. Anyway, so it's important that you get these belly lines right when you're making a whale. If you make a mistake, it's very easy to get mad because it requires near parallel lines. You can't have them touching at any point or it ruins everything. Now the Whale Mage, he's a nice dark purple blue. So you want to cover this belly, just the top and the sides. The bottom is all going to be stomach. It's as if he's lying on his stomach. Now the Whale Mage is interesting because his flippers give the illusion of a robe. So it's important you have that when you're designing a Whale Mage for memory. This, of course, can be important for any mage-like character, to keep in mind their attributes and their colors. Of course, that last part's pretty much important for any art you might make. Say, how much time do I have left? Well, I'd say you have about, you still have 3 minutes. 3 minutes, alright, not bad, not bad. So, it's important you use different colors. If you use a lot of colors that are exactly the same, it doesn't turn out very well. So, it's important that you do this right. Say, Connor, I think a few people might be wondering, what exactly do you use when you're drawing these? Oh, I use my mouse. You use your mouse? Yes, that's right. I mean, some artists out there, they use fancy styluses and iPads, but I say, even the humblest of origins can lead to some really great art. I mean, look at my art. It's clearly recognizable, despite its limited details. Okay, yeah, sure, we'll say that. Now, another important part of the Whale Mage is that he's holding a mage stick. After all, that's part of the reason why he's a mage, because, you know, otherwise he'd just be a fat whale. Ha ha ha, yeah, that's hilarious. Anyway, so, I'm pretty sure the stick was made of wood, so you're going to want to make sure you give it. Try to keep it at an angle similar to his own, but you're going to want to make sure that it's thicker at the end, because that seems to be a very good indication that it's a mage's staff rather than a basic one. See, notice how I take advantage of my limited space to create something beautiful. Now, the mage also had this red cloak. You have 2 minutes left. Red cloak. This red cloak, beautiful red cloak, just along the edges of their flipper-esque things. So it's important we add that. Now, this red is way too bright. We're going to want to make sure we desaturate that just a little bit. Not too much, otherwise we might end up making some kind of mistake, but it's important we get the right shade that doesn't contrast too greatly with what we're trying to achieve here. I feel like that's a good one right there. If it's too light, it pops very hard and it doesn't look good. So making sure we get the proper shade of red is very essential to making this look good. Now this red cape thing is basically an expansion of what we've already seen. Now, this here might look like a finished product, but I still have 1 minute 10 seconds, so I know I need to add some detail. So, it's important that you grab the colors you have and start adding some shadows. Shadows are important. They help make your thing look more 3D, as I've said before. So, adding these is important. You don't want to go too dark, though. Basically, just a very close off shade to what you're working with will generally give you the best results. Now, of course, if you just can't get shadow right, starting with basic 2D like I have and just upping that, that's a good starting spot. But you don't learn if you don't try anything new. You have about 30 seconds left, so it's very important that in these last seconds that I go ahead and clean up the art for any inconsistencies that I don't like in it. We're almost done here, only about 20 seconds. Yes, I know. In these last 20 seconds, we want to make sure it looks good. Now, an essential part of any whale is its blowhole, so we want to go ahead and add that to the top. Nothing too bright, nothing too dull, just something that indicates that, hey, he's a whale. You can even add a little water effect for our final effect. Alright, that's 5 minutes. You gotta stop, Conrad. Alright. So, now that we're done here, why don't we take a look at what I was actually supposed to draw, and you better give me something I recognize next time. Alright, sure thing, Connor. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he was supposed to draw. Alright, Conrad, so this was the one you were supposed to draw, and this is the one you did. Alright, that's pretty bad. That's very bad. I mean, I forgot the tail, but using the water instead, it kinda looks alright. We'll go with that, and we'll just move on to the next one. Hopefully something recognizable? Please. Conrad, I promised that if you didn't recognize whatever we spun, that you could go ahead and spin it again, because we want there to be something recognizable. So far we've just gotten Monsters exclusive content. So maybe you want to shuffle it a little more? Sure, I'll shuffle it one time. Just the one time. Then we'll go ahead and spin it. Come on, Slime. Or maybe Golem. I don't want to draw Golem. Why not? That could be fun. I don't even like Golems. You are going to get killed by the comment section if we have one. Okay, so the Cloud King. Do you know who that is? You know, the Cumulus Rex from Dragon Quest VII? Yeah. The Cumulus Hex? Vex? Rex? Yeah, all three of those. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could draw that. Oh, good. I certainly hope so. Well, then we'll go ahead and draw it. So, you ready? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, the time has started. Alright, so, the Cumulus Vex is made out of clouds. Hex? Rex? Which one is it? It doesn't really matter. They all look the same. The Cumulus X, not to be confused with the rest of them, is made up of clouds. These are done with a very light blue-tealed color, so it's very important that you get the general shape down. Now, he has a very chaotic swirl at the bottom, almost as if he's coming out of a cloud himself. Now, a very good way to do clouds is just a very rough draft, similar to what I've done here. You don't have to do anything fancy. As long as it looks somewhat cloudy, it's a very good starting spot. Then you want to go something a little more middle of the road from wherever you were, and just go up and actually build the body from there. Now, he does not have this thin of a body, so it's important that I just basically staple them a bit together here. Another important thing is to make sure that whenever you're using the fill tool that you do not fill up the blank spaces in your cloud, because that's a very essential part of the cloud's identity. So now that you have the base built up, you also have to add the hands. He has very small angry hands, so we're going to just go with a very small scribble for now and call it good. Now he also has similar cloud sort of deal at the top of his head, so we'll go ahead and give him that. Now, these guys have very angry faces, so you want to make sure that it appears such. Now, with such limited time and with such a limited palette, it's not going to be anything too special. But if you can get the general face down and make sure it doesn't look like some kind of rejected Minecraft monster, you're probably in a good space. So, for example, this is absolutely horrendous. The face looks so bad, and honestly, it doesn't look frightening at all. It kind of looks like you just threw a bear into a bathtub of blue paint. Why would anyone do that? I don't know, but it certainly looks like that. Now, once you have your fairly angry face down, another important thing to add is to make sure that you have those lines. See, I'm pretty sure they have these lines that make them kind of feel like a wave of clouds. So it's very important you have that. You have 3 minutes left, by the way. Oh, I know, I just don't care. Anyway, you go ahead and you get these lines by doing another color. You want to go from the top of your cloud all the way down. Now, this is similar to the whale's belly. You want to make sure you space them out evenly. And you're going to want to go underneath the face, otherwise it won't look so good. Make sure when you reach the bottom that you end up spreading it out similar to how his body's shaped. This will help create a more natural flow with these things. Very, very good stuff. Now that last line was pretty bad. We'll go ahead and undo that. Now this is the perfect time with these remaining, how much time? About 2 minutes. Alright, with these remaining 2 minutes, we're going to want to go ahead and get started, grabbing some of these arms and making them a little better. See, they have this pose where they have their hands sticking out. Now, with very limited resources, this might seem really hard to do, but it's pretty easy once you know how to do some general shading. See, if you go ahead and give the hand a different color than the rest of the arm, then it doesn't get confusing. In fact, it actually looks a lot good if you take the time and attention to detail to make it look good. Now, in cases like this, it just doesn't look good, so you're going to want to trim it up a bit, try to help fit the scale of the model. Making hands is very hard. A lot of people struggle with it. A very important thing to note while you're making hands is to just keep drawing even when it is hard. After all, the easiest way to learn is to repetition. You know what they say. What is it? Practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. What's that supposed to mean? It means if you practice something badly long enough, it sticks instead of becoming better. Well, yes, you have to do traits that improve, but also, if you can't draw hands, you're better off trying to figure out how than just assuming that it would be better if you didn't. So, pixel art hands, they're no different. You're going to want to make sure that they look like hands. So see, these kind of look like little grabbers, and that's all we have to have for our little project here. Now, I'm not too happy with the head, so for this last minute, we're going to go ahead and cloudy it up just a little more. Now, it might be just a little too cloudy, so cutting a little bit off the top might be a good idea in order to make it look better. Now, it looks a little less like he has an afro and a little more like he's on fire. That's a bit more towards the direction I'm pretty sure we're going to want to go. Just fill up some of the blank space and kill off any stray pixels, and we should be nearly good to go. Now, of course, with these last 20 seconds, you're going to want to make sure that you clear up any facial discrepancies, such as this abnormally long frown of his. See, doesn't that look much better? Now that all of that is done, we can confidently say we have something good here. So just a few final touches and we will be all ready. Alrighty, that is about time. Alright, so we'll stop and take a look at what comes next. Alright, Conrad, this is what you were supposed to draw. And this is the Cumulus Rex, and that's its name. This is the Cumulus Rex that you did draw. Well, I think it's perfect. I got everything right except the head, the top of the head. Everything else, it looks perfect. 3 fingers, cloud base, ropes, perfect. Okay, I won't argue with you. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, Conrad, you ready for the 4th monster? Oh, yes, this is rather fun, I must say. I think this would be a great way to pass times in waiting rooms and in hospitals. Alright, I want to ask any questions about that. You shuffled it? Yes, 3 times. It's my lucky number. Is it? No, it's not my lucky number. No, I don't have a lucky number. Well, everyone needs a lucky number. Well, I don't have one. My lucky number is infinity, because every number's lucky to me. Oh, well, it looks like you got lucky today. You are doing a metal slime. Oh, what? No way, really? Yeah, come on. You said you couldn't mess this up, right? Well, now that you're putting all this pressure on me, I'm not sure. Come on, you got this. You got this. Alrighty. I could do a metal slime, yeah, no problem at all. The metal slime which first originated in the original Dragon Quest and appeared in every Dragon Quest game since. Yes, you can stop with the pressure now when you're starting the timer. Oh, I started it right now. Okay, so when you're drawing slimes, the most important thing to get is to make sure you have that teardrop structure down. That is the most recognizable part of a slime by a landmine. That's the reason why the slime design is so popular, because it's so recognizable and yet still so adorable. People still recognize it as, hey, it's that slime fella, while also being able to say, hey, isn't that adorable? Akira's art style really shines here, so it's very important I don't mess this one up. What happens if you do mess it up? Well, if I do mess this up, then that's because you've put so much pressure on me, you jerk. Oh, well, my bad. Oh, no, I'm just joking with you. Of course you are. Anyway, a few things here. Now, when you're doing it from memory, for the first few times, the proportions may not be exactly perfect. That is completely fine. Because the shape of the slime is so ubiquitous, it would be recognizable either way. So notice this. It's not a very good slime, but it's still recognizable as a slime, especially when I color it blue. It's like so. Boop, it's a slime. Now, at the same time, we're not drawing normal slimes, we're drawing a metal slime, so we're just gonna round up the bottom just a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started with that gray. Now, gray doesn't look nearly as good as the blue does, but it's very iconic. Anyone who's played a Dragon Quest game can tell you about metal slimes. Yeah, I know about metal slimes. In fact, isn't your favorite monster one of those metal slimes? No, it's the, liquid metal slimes and the bubble slimes. Yes, I knew that. Anyway, once you have the body down, drawing the sprites for a slime's face is rather simple. Did you forget what it was called there for a second? Yes, because all this pressure you're putting on me. Anyway, their eyes follow a very simple structure. They'll have like this kind of cross-looking thing with their pupil in the middle. Now, in a much smaller cartridge like a Game Boy or an NES, it's gonna look kind of off, and generally you'll stick with the color of the body behind it. But in this case, we can go ahead and give some black pupils to the middle of all of those eyes. It really looks adorable so far. Now, they don't have noses, which is a relief, especially since I'm... How much time? You're about halfway. Since I'm about halfway through a time. However, they also have this adorable red smile. It will generally go from the bottom of one eye to the end of the other. Now, in this case, it becomes obvious where I'm have the biggest mistake. See, my slime is too compact, it's too squished together. However, I'm too deep in to say I care about fixing it, so we're gonna go ahead and actually move the eyes a little closer together. This is an age-old trick that makes the slime look a lot better in the end. Trust me, I know. I've drawn plenty of slimes. If you've drawn plenty of slimes, then how come you're not doing it perfectly this time? Well, that's because I haven't actually drawn plenty of slimes. I just wanted to sound like I'm a professional at drawing slimes. Anyway, after you're done with the slime's eyes, they should be really close together like so. Just a few small edits and it'll become recognizable again. Very important thing is that you don't accidentally get the eyes too close together or too far apart, otherwise it doesn't look good. And make sure you add pupils, otherwise it looks very creepy. There, now that's recognizable, isn't it? Now, at the same time, you might find yourself in a situation where you need a darker gray in order to help highlight this. Black is going to be your best bet, but you kinda can't use black if you have a black outline like I do. So instead, some off blues, very dark blues, will be a great way to help try and get that metallic shine that these slimes have. Try and fully capture that. Since, you know, that's a very iconic part. They don't just look very metal, they also have that reflective shine to them. That's why they're so well known in future games. Now, see, this is something I'm very happy with. I would take this even if I had a minute left. Well, you do have a minute left. Well, I suppose if I have a minute left, I might as well make a few last-minute efforts. You should also have a similar shine in other parts of the body, but make sure it looks good. See, because my slime's too compact, there's no need to actually add any of those. This, in my opinion, is a near perfect rendering of a slime. Besides it being a little compact, it kind of looks like a menu icon. Listen, if you're just gonna talk away the last minute, and, well, it's 20 seconds now. Yes, I know. Anyway, these things are adorable. Don't be afraid to fix the mouths if you feel like they're too wide. For example, just very small touch-ups in these last few seconds to add suspense is generally a great idea, and couldn't go wrong in any given way. You're out of time. Oh yes, I know. I just don't care. I'll fix up the mouth real quick, because I said so, and well, voila. There is a perfect metal slime. Well, I'm gonna have to take your word for it, but why don't we take a look at what the actual metal slime looks like? Okay, Conrad. I really think we did good. You did good. You did really good. This was the metal slime you were supposed to draw. This is the one you did. It's perfect! Yeah, it's perfect, pretty much. I mean, you can tell what it is. That's better than... Oh, it's better than the rest of them, alright? See, you don't need a time limit to make a good slime. And with that good note, let's move on to our last drawing. Alright, Conrad, you ready to finish this up? Oh, you bet I'm ready. You know, I'd like to get this over with. I think we ended on the perfect note, yet we have to do one more for the sake of continuity. Well, go ahead, shuffle that a few times and give it a spin. Hopefully you'll get like a final boss. Final boss? I did Gorago as the first one. Gorago! I don't need a final boss. Well, let's see if you got a final boss. You did not get a final boss. Instead, you got something straight from the movie Fear and Self-Loathing in Las Vegas. This is the Incinerator by name. He first appeared in Dragon Quest IV, and you know, he's the giant flying stingray. Does that help refresh your memory? Stingray? Yeah, okay. You know what? You'll figure it out. You're right. I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? No, you don't. So let's go ahead over here to the art, make sure you're all ready. And are you ready? Yes, let's get this over with. Let's start then. Alright, so we're gonna use the orange. We want another orange monster, but this one is notably much darker orange. Now, we don't want it to be too dark, otherwise it ends up looking brown. This one's a hard one to do due to the way the pose is dynamically. You're going to want to make sure you get everything right in that first initial draw, or at least a very good rough sketch of what things look like. Another essential part here is that you can create an easy underbite sort of look by just drawing a thing and leaving a few white gaps. Saving a lot for imagination is an essential part of creating something that looks like it could be good art. And of course, it's even more essential when it comes to creating actually good art, something that my friend here will never realize. Alright, that was uncalled for. It definitely was! Anyway, now that we have our base coat of brown down, we can actually start adding some orange in order to give him a more recognizable look. Now, I don't know how many of you have played Dragon Quest IV. I've played Dragon Quest IV. I didn't play Dragon Quest IV. So once again, this is another guy you've shown me and I just am supposed to know. Yes, it is. Well, there's nothing wrong with a little challenge. Now, this thing here feels like it looks like a flipper. But in reality, that's actually supposed to be... I think there's a fin on the back? Yeah, there's a fin. So it's important that you get the fin and the flipper very distinct. You want it to look like there's some kind of difference, when really there's not much one at all. So once again, this is going to be an important time to use your shadow. It'll make it seem like the light is coming from the viewer's perspective. This is very good at selling the illusion of three-dimensionality. Doesn't it look good already? Now, anyway, pretty sure we're going to want like a light red here, just to help make the fin stick out a little bit. There's also going to be some red patterns throughout the body in order to help add some extra detail to it, since I don't really remember too much of the detail on the actual thing. So, another important thing, if you're drawing something from memory, and I've said this before, fake it until you make it. Alright, you have about 3 minutes left. Now, another essential thing to our giant flying guy is his eyes. See, he has these weird stalk-like eyes, so making sure you get that is very important to making sure he's recognizable. Now, due to this white background we're working on, you gotta be very careful, otherwise you end up with something that doesn't look good. So these black boxes may look bad at start, but if you give the whole thing a black outline, it looks so much better in the end. Now, another thing to note when making eyes is that simplicity is very, very good. It's very nice to have a very simple set of eyes. If you try to do anything too complex, you might end up detracting from all the art in general. Simple eyes in pixel art are very useful. Now, nothing against complex eyes. If you can do it right, good for you. But I'm not going to be able to focus too much time on the eyes because I only have... How much time left? You have about 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. So, now that we've got ourselves our giant flying stingray, we can start adding some of the more important details, like straightening out this tail so it doesn't look so bad. We want it to look like it's dangerous, but not like it could kill the main leading researcher of stingrays. We also don't want it to look too weird, otherwise it might be mistaken for a drug dream, and we don't want to go that route. You know, Backcountry starts playing in the background, we could play some Avenged Sevenfold. I'd rather you don't get your one good video copyrighted. Ouch, my friend, ouch. Anyways, so we finish up with the drawing here. What else do you need on that? Well, it's not good enough. What do you mean? Well, look at this. I need a black outline around the entire thing. Now, I didn't really do this for some of the other ones, but when you're working with big eyes like this, the situation practically demands it. See, we're going to do something different, and when I finish this, I'm actually going to surround the entire art by black. It makes the eyes look so much better. You'd be very surprised. I would. You have less than a minute remaining. Okay, so we just want to finish up this outline here, and you'll be surprised by how much better it ends up being. Now, a more dynamic tail probably would have been a good idea, but I didn't do that, so we're going to just ignore that fact. Keep going. Now, it's important you don't overwrite anything you've already done, otherwise it won't look so good and you could end up destroying the intended structure of your design. So making sure you don't do things in big broad strokes can be a good idea at times. Now, see, we've almost got a completely perfect creature. Isn't it wonderful? Now we go ahead and we're going to give it a full black background. Very dangerous, but it makes the eyes seem so much better. We go ahead and take the stalks, and we are out of time, aren't we? Yes, you are. You've been keeping track this time? Yes, I was. Anyway, that's it for the drawing. As you can see, it looks so much better with a black background. Anyway, I guess we better finish this off with a bang? Yeah, we better. Go ahead and stop it. So this was the incinerator you were supposed to draw, and this is the one you did. We should have ended with the metal slime. It looks wonderful. But I got the wrong angle. You know, you're right. Maybe we can cut this out of the video. That's not gonna happen, is it? No, it's not. Alright, so with that, that's the conclusion of this video. If you like content like this or other Dragon Quest Monsters based content, feel free to like or subscribe, and leave a comment if I did anything wrong or if you have something to say. Also, I don't actually have this accent. I've faked it the entire time. And that's the perfect note to end on. So, until later, this has been Defeater of Souls with Conrad Elliott.